Hello, my name is John Passaniti. The movie I chose for our Dismantling Stereotypes presentation is Head Games, a documentary by Steve James. It follows Christopher Nowinski, an athlete studying the long-term effects of the multiple concussions he suffered playing football and wrestling. The film looks at the widespread incidence of head injuries that threaten the well-being of athletes on every level. NFL players are nearly 20 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease than the general population. The brain disease CTE is often found in NFL players and boxers. Many of the traumatic brain injury films listed in the Iris Center film portrayals of people with disabilities included characters with TBIs, but only two featured a character. For centuries, people with disabilities have served as cultural objects rather than as active creators of culture and media. Unfortunately, some of the films in the list are also inaccurate when it comes to TBIs and cause a large amount of bias and confusion. Moving into a new millennium, people with disabilities have forged a sense of identity and a determination to resist segregation and discrimination. A TBI can be defined as a bump, blow, or jolt to the head or a penetrating head injury that leads to the disruption of normal brain function. The severity of this injury can be measured based on the Glasgow Coma Scale as mild, moderate, or severe. A sport-related concussion is considered a form of mild TBI on the scale. This documentary takes a very serious and analytical look into the science of traumatic brain injuries and the lasting effects on individuals. It is estimated that approximately 1.6 to 3.8 million sports-related traumatic brain injuries occur every year, accounting for roughly 15% of all high school sport-related trauma reported. However, these numbers may be considered an underestimate due likely to failures in reporting of head injuries sustained or seeking medical attention. Popular media often misrepresents the physical, cognitive, and psychosocial ramifications of sustaining TBIs. This leads to misconceptions the public and professionals hold about TBIs. According to a Johns Hopkins study in particular, large numbers of speech-language pathology graduates persist in believing that 1. People in comas are aware of what's happening around them. 2. Survivors can have severe amnesia yet be normal in every other way. 3. The memory challenges of survivors do not impact their learning of new information. And 4. Complete recovery from severe TBI is possible if a person wants it badly enough. I think this documentary would have an overall positive impact on any individual who watched it, both with and without disabilities. The first-person testimonials of ex-athletes carry a lot of significant insight into traumatic brain injuries. One professional soccer player talks about suffering from chronic headaches during her career, and even now, always leaving her car's GPS system on, even in familiar streets. The big picture importance of head games lies in how James also spotlights the competitive drive of various kids playing these sports, often with less equipment and definitely with less medical-informed training and supervision than their sports idols. Late in the film, a doctor estimates that around 15% of even one-time concussion sufferers endure persistent cognitive dysfunction. Most people would be shocked after viewing head games and would reconsider young children playing these sports. In my years of teaching, I have taught a few students who have had serious TBIs. Those students challenged my assumptions and bias since the media had really confused my understanding about TBIs. TBIs can even occur in infants due to fetal alcohol syndrome. TBIs can lead to long-term effects including epilepsy and neurodegeneration. There is an increased risk of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, and CTE. I appreciated that the documentary did not make TBIs humorous like much of the media tends to do, and instead focused on educating viewers on the dangers of even mild TBIs. In my research on TBIs for this course, I learned that although there is a considerable variability in outcomes following a TBI, there's also a general features of acquired brain injury, common to many children who sustain a brain injury, particularly when structural brain damage is present. For example, children with a frontal lobe injury typically experience greater difficulty with executive functioning, which includes attentional process, self-regulation, goal setting, initiating, and inhibiting behavior. Many behavior and social problems observed in children with TBIs are related to poor executive functioning. They may also have problems with organization, planning, prioritizing, analyzing tasks, and completing the sequence of activities. Cognitive impairments can include memory problems, slowed information processing, and language disturbances. Memory impairment is one of the most common deficits associated with pediatric TBIs. This can be applied as a special educator to better prepare your classroom and provide accommodations to students who may have TBIs. I'll end my presentation with a quote from Laura Hershey. Art allows us to articulate more than we ever can with argument. With art, we can state with not only what we want, but who we are. We can explore our own souls and psyches even as we reveal our humanity, our diversity, our experiences, and our aspirations to others. These are the references I used for this presentation. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to viewing all of yours.